will have a time limit of 15 minutes. After each session, we will have a 15 minutes question and answer session. Without further ado, let us start with our first presenter. Please welcome Associate Professor Dr. Aida Mokhtar from AHAS KRKHS IIUM and Professor Dr. Hasanul Haq from KANMS IIUM with their paper entitled IMC from the Tawhidic Epistemology Perspective. Please welcome.
Thanks so much, Anissa. Thanks a lot for the introduction. So somebody's going to be showing my slides for me, isn't it? Right? So can I have them shown, please? Or do I have to show them? Do I have to share them? Okay. Okay. Can you put them on slideshow, please, man? Enable editing, I think, first. Shall I show them then, Ananya? Or okay. Okay. Right. Now, thank you so much to all of you for coming. We've got quite a lot of people attending this seminar. I really appreciate it. Now, our paper today will be titled IMC, or Integrated Marketing Communication from the Tawhidic Epistemology Perspective. And I'll be mainly presenting, and this paper was done with Professor Dr. Hasanul Haq, who's from the Department of Business Admin. He's a marketing professor. Can we go to the next slide, please? All right, now this is the preview of points. We have the definition of IMC, Tawhidic Epistemology, and Tawhidic Epistemology and IMC. Okay, the reason why we've decided to do something on Tawhidic Epistemology is because it's basically the rector's direction for the university. And we thought it would be a great idea to link it together with integrated marketing communication. Of course, we have the Muslim audience in mind. Yeah, we have the Muslim audience in mind. And of course, the values could be perceived as universal as well. Okay. So next slide, please. Right. Okay. Definitions of IMC is based, of course, on marketing. Marketing is the bigger umbrella term under which IMC, or integrated marketing communication, is part. According to Kotler et al., there's been a major shift from product-driven marketing. As you're well aware, marketing was product-driven before this. And what happened was it was basically in the era where you would provide whatever you could make, right, to people without really thinking about people's needs and wants, really. And then it became customer-centric marketing. Obviously, it did not work, right? You can't simply provide what you can build, what you can cook, what you can make, what you can manufacture. You've got to listen to the customers. And then ultimately, it became human-centric marketing, and there's this human aspect, this personality aspect to marketing. And that was marketing 3.0. And of course, marketing 4.0 describes a deepening and broadening of human-centric marketing to cover every aspect of the customer's journey. So this is basically how marketing has developed. And of course, together with this is the whole idea of integrated marketing which is basically everything we do, and the way we do everything sends a message. Everything we do and the way we do everything sends a message. So this is something which is very important, of course, because it's not only what we do, but it's also the way we do it. It seems to be that marketing communication, or IMC, has a bigger role in marketing itself. Can we go to the next slide, please? Right. So it's about having conversations with our customers. It's not only about promoting, and that's it, isn't it? It's not only about giving out or conveying promotional messages, but it's now become a two-way street. It's become, it's come to the point where we've got to have conversations with our customers, or without engagement, without having conversations, we won't get loyal customers. And that should be the ultimate aim. So when you have conversations with customers, you realize that everything you say, every nonverbal, every verbal, means something. There's a message to it. And hence, Moretti et al. Are very famous in terms of talking about contact points. So wherever target audiences get basically bump into or face information about the brand, or promotional materials, they encounter promotional materials of the brand, they go to customer service, and they bump into at every point where they bump into the brand in different ways, they all communicate something. The customer service will communicate something about the brand. The customer service people, the promotional materials, the advertisements, the social media posts, all of these things will communicate something. So it's very, very dangerous if we were to think that it's only social media that does the communication. It's a lot of communication that is relayed about your brand. So integrated marketing is the practice of coordinating messages from all marketing communication tools, as well as the messages from the marketing mix decisions. So it's not only in terms of advertising. When you talk about marketing communication tools, it's not only about advertising, it's not only about public relations, it's not only about direct marketing, it's not only about sales promotion, but it's also other marketing communication tools. Of course, now we have influencer marketing, and some people will call social media marketing as a tool on its own, right? Although I'm kind of against that, because I feel that social media is more of a cluster of media rather than a marketing tool on its own. And the marketing mix, the 4Ps, the product, price, place, and promotion, all communicate something. So when all of these together are communicating in an integrated manner, in a manner where there's a particular theme, and in a manner where people are given similar messages, the same message, through all these different marketing tools, you can say that this is the integration of marketing communication. Okay, next, please. Okay, so when you look at the development of IMC definitions by Phil and Turnbull, you can see that Schultz et al. 1993 mentions that it's a concept of marketing communications planning that recognizes the added value of a comprehensive plan that evaluates the strategic role of a variety of communications disciplines, such as advertising, direct response, sales promotion, and combines them to provide clarity, consistency, and maximum communications impact. Duncan Moretti go further, and they claim that it's a cross-functional process for creating and nourishing profitable relationships with customers and other stakeholders by strategically controlling or influencing messages sent to these groups and encouraging purposeful dialogue with them. So it's all about dialogue. It's about it being a cross-functional process for creating and nourishing profitable relationships. It's about building relationships. It's about not only identifying the customers, but also stakeholders on the whole. So customers are one of the stakeholders. And it's about controlling or influencing all messages sent to these groups and encouraging a purposeful dialogue, a dialogue that's meaningful, it's got intentions. Ultimately, of course, you want to make a sale. So Keller basically says that it involves the development, implementation, and evaluation of marketing communications programs using multiple communications options where the design and the execution of any communications option reflects the nature and content of other communications options that also make up the communications program. So it's talking about multiple communications options. The design execution reflects nature and content of other communication options. So talks about the development, implementation, and evaluation of programs. And it's something that sounds, it's a very big concept, isn't it? And the final scholars and have claimed that it's an audience-driven business process of strategically managing stakeholders, content channels, and results of brand communications programs. So there's this audience-driven approach, strategically managing stakeholders, content channels, and results of brand communications programs. And you do want the results to be successful, of course. So there's the development. Phil and Turnbull claim that this is development of IMC, of the IMC concept that has gone through the years. Okay, Islam, sorry. Materialism, okay, IMC issues I find that are important to address. When you talk about, IMC with a conscience, there's the idea of materialism, which means that, of course, it refers to this love for materials, basically, isn't it? Yeah, material products. And the whole idea is you're more into the physical products rather than the spiritual aspect. You will, adore. Yeah, it will adore material goods. And the thing is, you use these to perhaps, use them. Perhaps some people may do so to convey your success, isn't it? Because through your through your material goods, whether it's a car, whatever it is. So basically, consumerism is all about being excessive in your desire for worth goods. So this is something that, of course, is worrying, of course, because for Muslims, we're talking about not having the excessive desire for anything, isn't it? We're not into extremism, we're not into excessiveness, but of course we are looking at balancing between the physical and the spiritual. So going for the middle path. So this is what Kamali has mentioned about the whole idea of wasatiyah, which is, of course, balancing between the physical and the spiritual. So the women, and their inappropriate depictions in IMC campaigns, in IMC messages is of course always brought up. And this is worrying, of course, because women sometimes are not conveyed with dignity, isn't it? They're not depicted in a dignified manner. So this is something which is, of course, worrying as well. And of course, IMC messages that are lacking in good values is also worrying, because IMC messages are supposed to be effective. They're supposed to come up with, they're supposed to result into something. They are supposed to change your behavior, change your attitudes, make you buy products, normalize. They will normalize images that could be immoral. So that's worrying. Okay, next, Islam. Okay, Tawhid epistemology. Now, this is, of course, our beloved rector, the Honorable Osman Bakar. Yeah, he's one of the scholars who has written on Tawhid epistemology, right? So there's this whole idea of synthesis in one of his papers that's been mentioned. And he mentioned about taking into consideration these three things: Islamic science, modern science, postmodernity, and the global ummah must work together to produce a new science through a synthesis of the ideas embodied in the three intellectual cultures and worldviews. So there's the need to, of course, go by the Quranic principle of Tawheed, and the Islamic tradition of synthesis needs to be understood well and revived in our times. And we have to think of the ways and means by which Islam's Tawheedic epistemology can help the Ummah in producing the new synthesis. So we're talking about all of these three things coming together, right? The Islamic science, modern science, and postmodernity. Okay, next. So Islamization of knowledge, when we talk about applying Tawhidi epistemology, right, it means that we are also looking at the Islamization of knowledge, which means knowledge on its own without examining it, without applying the Islamic perspective, on or applying it to knowledge will not be is not really acceptable in of course amongst Muslims. And the realization of the Islamization of knowledge can use several approaches, ranging from mere labeling, using axiological approaches, which is looking at values in knowledge, internalization of Islamic values, and application of the principle of Tawheed to Islamic education. So Islamization of knowledge highlights the real problems that we face and raises awareness of the importance of critiquing Western knowledge from an Islamic perspective. Okay, next. All right, so we have, of course, this surah and ayat, and it's got this emphasis on ontological exclusivity of worship to a single object. So, of course, we link Tawheed to, the oneness of Allah, according to the Islamic belief, of course. And the verse also includes, right? So you've got to give me a little bit more time. The verse also includes key terms such as Illah Wahid and the attributes Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, which carry ontological identity and ethical orientation. Yeah, so there are 5 central principles, and these are the 5. Okay, let's go next. And right, so these 5 have different meanings, and as you can see, they all talk about the oneness of God, right? They all talk about the oneness of God. One of it talks about the oneness of God. The other one, Kuliyat Ar-Rahmah, it mentions about the divine mercy that's minimal, oriented towards welfare. Nafi Ashirik, rejection of absolutizing anyone but God. And Takamul al-Ubudiyah wa al-Khalifa, balance in vertical and horizontal relationships. Tayin al-Huwiyah, al-Ma'rifah, al-Ma'rifiyah, affirmation of an epistemic identity based on Tawheed. So all of these point towards the oneness of God, really. All right, next. Okay, so all knowledge needs to have the basis of Tawhidi epistemology, not only religious knowledge, so others will be at a loss. So applying the oneness of Allah to knowledge, to understanding knowledge is very important. Okay, next. Right, so I've applied it to this IMC model, which is the brand communication model. And of course, we have the advertiser or the marketing communicator coming up with objectives, and then encoding of messages by the agency, and then the media mix, and of course the receiver being affected in different ways. So this is what we call the PEPCAT model, facets, model, effects, where we have the 6 facets of effects, and then we have different types of noises that affect everything, and we have, of course, feedback. Okay, next. So when we apply the Tawheed model, it basically means that we talk about character of the source and the receiver, purpose of the source and the receiver, message, values in the message, whether they're educational, it should be educational. Of course, the message should be educational. Media mix, the ambiance, the media should be value laden. Yeah, it should have value. Feedback should be constructive. Effects should be as intended by the client. So the client or the source of this information, if they were to, right, basically intend effects to happen, then this is what should happen, isn't it, right? So all the noble, purposeful effects you have in mind will happen at the end. Noise, we need to be alert in terms of the noise that we could be affected by in our communication. Okay, next. All right, so in conclusion, Tawhidi epistemology is important IMC targeted to the Muslim audience, and brands have to be sensitive to the religious sensitivity of target audiences, of course, and talk about the Muslim audience as well. And of course, Muslims have this idea, purpose in life of revering God as well as attaining eternal goodness in the hereafter. So it's more than selling and buying goods, but there is this greater aim in life. So this is what the Muslim audience would believe in. Okay. Thank you so much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thanks, Anissa.
Thank you very much, Dr. Aida, for the meaningful insight. Next, I would like to invite Dr. Ahmad Nizam and Najla from Syiah Kuala University, Indonesia, with their paper entitled Islamic Marketing Communication and Consumer Behavior, Indonesian Perspective. Please welcome.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good evening, all of you. Thank you, Prof. Aida, for the kind invitation for me for our ongoing academic collaboration. Now, I will brief my simple research about Islamic marketing communication and consumer behavior, focusing how Sharia value shape both consumer decision and marketing practice, especially in Aceh, one of the state, very specialist state from Indonesia, because Aceh implement now we are going to implementation of fully Sharia law in business. Okay, the slide. Can you see the slide? Indonesia is, I think, is the biggest population of Muslim in the world, and we try to prepare Islamic law based on the Tauhidic, just now Prof. Aida say, but for me and for us in Aceh, we now run about the Islamic law based on Islamic Tasawwur and Maqasid Sharia. Especially in Aceh now, we try to implementation of Sharia law or Islamic law. For example, in Aceh now only Sharia business institution can operate in Aceh. Institution of economics based on conventional, no, I think cannot find in Aceh. For example, in my slide, just I try to describe about how can Islamic marketing communication to push the halal awareness, to push trust, and the end of the Islamic marketing communication, I think, for the people know about halal tourism, halal food, halal fashion, and we know we try to create the Islamic value in our life. I think the next linking, okay, next. This the simple case in Aceh. Prof. Aida go to Aceh and see the specially state in Indonesia and in Syariah law. Now we can see this Islamic marketing communication can create the trust to implementation about Sharia law or Islamic law, and that we can use for guidance ethical consumption for Muslim, like hajiyat, taziniyat, dahruriyat. Based on that, we know everything we need. For example, no, in Aceh, many problem. So we can see based on the condition is not very well in Aceh, we sure Allah can help us to create the how to say semangat to get up after the musibah, many musibah in Aceh. Now we try to implementation Islamic marketing communication based on the Sharia law, Islamic tasawwur, and Maqasid Sharia. And you can see the practical application and halal tourism. Now many activity about halal tourism in Aceh should be based on the government policy. For example, government policy in Aceh, if any we find problem about the something not okay in community, they can apply the hukum cambuk. How to say hukum cambuk in English? This especially, I think, we try the halal tourism different Aceh and the other state in Indonesia. We try based the condition of business in Aceh. I hope many support from all of you. So Allah gives special how to say in English, special semangat. We create the system of Islam in Aceh. So Islam in Aceh can adopt like one model of people using in the world, another world. I think that's my presentation. Very sorry because I'm not very convenient the situation in Aceh because in YouTube pray for Aceh. Jadi just I very thanks for Prof Aida give me especially chance to present today. Lebih kurang I'm very sorry if not satisfy all of you. Thanks. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ahmad Nizam, for the wonderful sharing. Next, I would like to welcome Professor Dr. Jantima from St. Paul University, Philippines, with her paper entitled From Persuasion to Power, Ethical, Cultural, and Marketing Communication in the Age of Algorithmic Authority. Please welcome.
Hello. Hello.
Hi, Prof.
Do
Yes.
you hear me?
Yes.
Hello.
Yes. We
Yes.
can. Yes.
Hello, bro.
We can hear you.
Hello.
Hello, bro.
Sorry, I don't know how to share my PowerPoint, but I send my PowerPoint to Dr. Aida. Can you just...
All right, you sent it to me?
Yes.
Okay. I don't
Yes.
think I sent it to anybody. Hold on. Let me
And
search for it.
can someone just
Yes.
tell me how to...
Okay. Wait. Somebody
share
will
the-
help. Yeah. Somebody will help. Show it.
Sorry.
Share it. Someone will help share it. Hold on there. Let me, because I just realized it's in my messenger. Okay. Wait. Islan, I'm gonna give this to you.
because it's on in. Very sorry that
It's okay.
you see my PowerPoint.
Yes, I got it. It's 17 slides, isn't it? Right?
Yes.
Okay. Hold on. Okay, it's being sent. Okay. Islan, it's in the committee WhatsApp group. Please share it. Thank you.
Thank you. So, first of all,
Okay.
this is okay.
Yeah.
So sorry.
Prof. Jantima was from UTCC, isn't it? University Thai Chamber of Commerce. Yeah, University of
I'm
Thai.
I'm a former lecturer there, and now I'm affiliated with St. Paul University, Manila.
Yes. And she's also a good friend of our Professor Said Arabi Aidid.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So there you go. There's your slides.
So I don't see how can I see my.
Hold on. Islan? Can? Not yet. Okay. Can you see?
Okay.
Yeah, it's coming up. It's coming on.
Sorry.
It's okay. No problem.
Yep. Okay. So I will be brief within the time slot. Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, my colleagues. It is my great pleasure to share my reflection on ethical communication in this new world order. Actually, not new, it's newer. Thanks to Professor Aida for inviting me to be with you this evening. Yep. From persuasion to power, next slide, please. Communication has always been understood as human act rooted in intention. You may move the slide. Dialogues and responsibility. Yet today, communication increasingly operates through systems that do not speak, feel, or deliberate. This presentation.
I think we have to change the slide, isn't it, Prof? Change the slide?
Yes.
Islan, change the slide, please.
You can move every minute. Yes. Okay. This presentation explores a fundamental shift from persuasion as a relational practice to power as an automated condition. At stakes are ethics, culture, and our role as communicator in an algorithmically mediated world. A shift we barely notice. The most consequentially change in communication, you may move the slide please, rarely arrive with disruption. Instead, they appear as convenience. As an algorithmic mediate, what we see, hear, and engage with influence quietly move away from human persuasion toward automated authorities. This shift is subtle, precisely because it feels natural, and that is what makes it powerful. You mean move the slide, please. The fourth slide. Algorithmic authority now. Okay. Unlike move the slide. Yes, thank you. Unlike traditional persuasion, algorithmic authority does not argue over or explain. It operates structurally by determining visibility. What appears in our feed, search, and recommendation shape perception before conscious judgment begins. Influence here is not rhetorical. It is infrastructural. Next slide, please. Algorithmic systems are designed to optimize attention. Efficiency, personalization, and engagement are treated as neutral goals. Yet, attention is not technical resource. It is a cultural and ethical one. When attention is governed by performance metrics, meaning become secondary to measurabilities. In marketing communication, next slide, please. In marketing communication, this logic becomes especially visible. Messages that perform well are amplified, while those that carry cultural depth, ethical reflection, or social responsibility may be sidelined. The result is not an ethical intent, but a system that quietly rewards surface engagement over substance. Next slide, please. Culture once resisted prediction. Today it is increasingly flattened into recognizable patterns. Cultural expressions are optimized for circulation, reduced to aesthetics, and made predictable for algorithmic consumption. This does not erase culture, but it softens it. Next, please. What is most concerning is not what algorithms show us, but what they quietly exclude. Non-performative narratives, minority voices, and culturally complex stories struggle to circulate. This exclusion is not deliberate censorship, it is automated neglect. Next, please. Much of our ethical response to AI focus on regulation after harm occur. Misinformation is corrected, bias is audited. Policies are revised while necessary. These responses treat ethics as an afterthought. Something applied once systems are already empowered. Next, please. When systems govern communication, responsibility becomes diffuse. No single actor feels accountable. Platforms optimize, marketers adapt, algorithms execute, power persists, but ethical authorship disappears. This is the ethical vacuum of automated authorship. In this context, communication competence must be redefined. It is no longer enough to persuade effectively or reach target audience. Competence now include responsibilities for cultural consequences and stewardship over meaning. Ethics become a core communicative skill. Next, please. Asian moral philosophies offer a crucial counterbalance to optimization, logic. Compassion extends care beyond utility. Benevolence links power to dignity. Common humanities reminds us that communicators and audiences are relationally bound. These are not symbolic values, they are ethical orientations. Next, please. From a relation ethical perspective, communication should prioritize human dignity over performance metrics. This requires slowing down, resisting excess optimization, and recognizing the moral weight of design decisions. Ethics here is live, not branded. Next, please. Reclaiming ethical authorship means refusing to hide behind system. It means designing communication and technologies with accountabilities. Next, please. In mind, ethical authorship insists that humans remain answerable for the structures they create. Next, please. The next slide, please. Okay. When When persuasion becomes infrastructural, influence no longer announces itself. It operates invisibly. This invisibility is not neutral. It demands greater ethical awareness, not less. Power without visibility requires responsibility with intention. Next, please. As communication becomes increasingly invisible, ethics, last slide now, ethics must become deliberate. The future of ethical communication will not be decided by technology alone, but by our willingness to protect cultural complexity, accept limits, and remain accountable to those affected by our system. When persuasion becomes power, responsibility must become human again. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Chantima, for the wonderful sharing. Next, I would like to invite Mr. Adi Satria Ahmad, Chairman of UA Advertising, Sendirian Berhad, Malaysia, with his paper entitled Islamic Advertising and IMC, From Zaitun, Jus Tok Guru to Madani Government. Please welcome.
Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, Professor Aida, distinguished professors and lecturers and also students and my dear friends. I find that I'm about lost a bit because I'm not one of the academic. I am a member of the advertising community or marketing communication community, having been in the business for many, many years, since 1980s. And during my professional career, from advertising, just basic advertising, I went into IMC way back in 90s. So I could understand the process and how it began. So let me begin my topic. I chose a topic, Islamic advertising in IMC, from Zaitun, Jus Tok Guru to the Madani government. Right now, basically, advertising in the larger context is actually marketing, part of marketing communications, and is about a process of communication, engagement, and information via communication platforms to promote products and services which are represented through brands. When we talk about anything about advertising and marketing communication, we must never forget the important aspect of branding. We are actually talking about brand. Brands are basically symbols in the form of special names, logos, or logotypes meant to leave a lasting impression in the mind of the consumer. That is the basic aim of brands. Brands, therefore, represent specific values called brand values, which resonate strongly with the consumer and motivates them to engage with it continuously, both consciously and subconsciously, as it represents the person's own integrity, image, values, as well as attitudes. It is a continuous process that will ensure that the brand is sustainable through time. So whatever you call that advertising, whether it's Islamic advertising or Christian advertising or Buddhist advertising, it still must deliver the core benefits and the value to the end consumer, compelling them to purchase the brand, to engage the brand with the brand, irrespective of the price. So basically, Islamic advertising or Islamic IMC are also a form of branding for a category of consumers. Now, there may be positives and negatives when using brands that represent a particular religion. How then if I may ask, would a Muslim react to the concept of Christian or Hindu advertising or Buddhist advertising? The simple answer to that would be at least cautious response or outright rejection. The same can apply also to a Christian consumer when they feel that, or rather when they look at Islamic advertising. But if the brand campaign were to clearly communicate its benefits and positive attitudes that makes the consumer understand its virtuous features and values that also resonate well with them, subscribing to ethical principles, social responsibility, and spiritual values, then they will be able to accept the brand. So now we go into what Dr. Ida mentioned about the basic 4 P's of marketing. Either it's 4 P's or 5 P's. Well, to me, I subscribe to the 5 P's because the key element in the marketing mix is people, yeah, the consumer, the end user. So understanding the consumer is how we begin our work. We have to understand the demographic profile as well as the psychographic profile, which is the most important in order to understand the consumer's personal values and attitudes. This is essential. This is in essence completes the total marketing mix of product, price, place, and promotions, the 4 P's of marketing. So I call it 5 P's of marketing. Of course, other recent scholars have added a lot more to this aspect of marketing. Now, I look into this concept of Tawhidic epistemology, something that for some time is new to me. And now I have an opportunity to listen to the experts from the academia on the meaning of Tawhidic epistemology. As an Islamic framework, Tawhidic epistemology asserts that all truth ultimately derives from the oneness of God or Allah and integrates all disciplines, natural, social, and spiritual, under the unifying concept of Tawhid. And the acquisition of knowledge as an act of worship or ibadah, right? Seeking divine truth, promoting justice and fairness, and serving the community as God's Khalifah or steward. Therefore, when we undertake to promote a brand, it must therefore fulfill the benefit, the true benefit to consumers. There must not be any element of misinformation, trickery, lies, untruths, in order to convince consumers to purchase the brand. And we have seen a lot of this unethical communication or advertising, particularly within the social media, right? Platforms like TikTok and so on and so forth, which easily influence the ignorant consumer. And in this case, particularly among the youth, right? That is why you see that social media platforms are being banned in Australia, for example, because of the dangers that this platform can do to the young consumer. So once we undertake to promote a brand, we have to fulfill the benefit to consumers. Once a religious branding is used, then it must also be true to its core and noble principles and values. Otherwise, the brand will risk consumer trust. When a brand loses consumer trust, then the brand will die. We often see how religion can be abused to confuse and mislead consumers in so many different contexts. We see it particularly in politics, in social interaction, welfare. For example, trying to promote donations to the people of Gaza, for example. Yeah? In Malaysia, there was one organization that has been caught for misleading, using religion to mislead or rather mislead consumers. So more disturbing is the misleading concepts used by some celebrity imams and scholars, which use them for their own benefits. And I do not wish to continue to discuss with this particular thing, but I think it is happening everywhere in the world. The use of platforms in social media is the trend today, and these abuses are being promoted widely. And these are the things that result in the divisiveness of society. Now, I move on to the next topic, next point, which is the beginning of Islamic advertising in Malaysia. My topic today is about my experience going through IMC as well as Islamic promotions since the 70s onwards. I'm not that young, by the way. Anyway, the beginning of Islamic brand advertising arguably can point to the brand Zaitun. Zaitun Cosmetic as the earliest form of advertising for a product that conforms to the concept of Sharia, the concept of halal to Malaysia in Malaysia way back in 1978. Launched by the founder, the late Datuk Sri Yusof Tay, whose was at that time, his goal was to promote halal products, certified cosmetics, toiletries, and household products to the Malaysian Muslim market. Mind you, at that time, in the late 70s and the beginning of the 80s, the Muslim market was beginning to grow in Malaysia as our economy began to expand. So the brand launched a major advertising campaign through television and print using the tagline, "Gunakan tanpa was-was," or in English, "Use without a doubt." That means using the product without any doubt, it is halal, and competition was from the major US or European companies such as Colgate and so on. Now, when the companies was when the product was launched, there was a big shift from buying American or Western products, toiletries, to this particular brand. Unfortunately, the brand suffered some financial difficulties, and what happened then was, because of his financial difficulties, it was delisted from the stock market, and the brand suffered very much until it was bought over by Colgate-Palmolive. Now, Colgate-Palmolive, as you know, is a company, a US company. When they saw this, it was a good tactic for them to actually acquire the brand, because after that, Zaitun was almost wiped out from the market. So this is one of the things that we find when using brands that promote to a segment of consumers that are growing especially in Malaysia. Okay, nonetheless, Zaitun opened the so-called floodgates to other halal brands or Muslim brands to try to market their products in the Malaysian market, beginning the 1980s. Okay. The other brand that was also important is Jus Tok Guru. Now, Jus Tok Guru, when it was launched in mid-2000s, was marketed as a botanical drink. It was a blend of 8 Sharia ingredients, namely dates or kurma, tamar, honey, raisin, saffron, olive oil, pomegranate, and the tin fruit, fig tin, as well as habatau soda. Now, it claims that it enhances energy, memory, and general health, and assists in digestion and detoxification. Now, these ingredients are mentioned in the verses of the Quran. such as the Surah At-Tin, whereas where there is a mention of the fruit, the fig, tin, as well as zaitun. So, and it's common in the Middle East. Now, this type of products appeal to the Malaysian Muslim consumers, and it was targeted at children from age 3 onwards, and right down to their adults. However, the brand name Jus Tok Guru, which was spelled as Jus, was considered not correct because juice is meant for only one particular product. But because it's a blend, they had to, it was against the Malaysian Food Act. So the brand name was changed from JUS to JOOS. But still, it was okay. Now, the funny thing, during that time, I was the general manager advertising of the main media Utusan at that time in Malaysia, one of the biggest Malay newspaper. I was the advertising general manager. I was instructed by some political people to not accept the brand because of the name Tok Guru, and it implies as though it was promoting Tok Guru Nik Aziz. At that time, the Kelantan Menteri Besar and chairman of the Muslim political party PAS, right? So that was one of the things that surprised me also at that time, that a brand like this, the name like this, could be implicated as a political way of promoting opposition political party. But nevertheless, the company took it as an opportunity to start marketing Jus Tok Guru on the online platform. So that is, until today, it is one of the most popular brands online. Okay, now let's look into integrated marketing communications. Since the early 90s, advertising as a discipline had evolved from just marketing a brand through advertising only towards an integrated marketing communication platform, which involves not just television advertising, print advertising, but also event management, public relations, sales promotion. Because this is, as what Professor Aida was mentioned earlier on, is a way to engage and to connect with the consumers to the various touch points in this case. So if you have, for example, you have an event that promotes a particular brand, you are able to engage with the consumer. Now, way back in the 90s, the giant multinationals based in Europe and New York, for example, have requested agencies to not just create advertisements for the media, but to also plan an integrated marketing communication program. So the evolution of an advertising agency that only creates advertisements moved on to public relations, event management, even direct response advertising at that time, before the revolution of the digital media. So we find that IMC became a very important discipline, not just within the advertising or marketing communication industry, but also consciously adopted by marketers and companies that need to promote their product. So this is where IMC became a very important subject matter in the universities in the mid-70s to the end. In the mid-90s. I was also at that time in one agency which I was heading the integrated marketing communication for Telekom Malaysia, right? During the launch of the multimedia super corridor in 1996. That was when we see the importance of having a one-stop center where we engage experts from public relations, event managers, sales promotions, as well as the creative aspect of the brand itself. So that's how integrated marketing communication evolved itself or began in the 1990s. However, when it moved on to the digital platforms, the development of digital platforms was in the 2000s. That was when we see the mainstream media beginning to lose its importance. And today you see social media being a very important platform for promoting brands. Television itself, for example, has lost its audience. And now we see most of the marketers are using social media as one of the key platforms to promote brands. Now, as what Dr. Jantina was mentioned just now, the algorithms, the point of who is responsible for ethical advertising, that becomes a challenge to marketers as well as to society, right? Next, I would like to mention also about how television, when I was a board member of TV Hijrah, the Islamic station in 2018, we managed to relaunch the television station as an Islamic lifestyle station, right? So programs were introduced to show the use or the adoption of Islamic values in all our programs, whether it's in entertainment, sports, what they call forums, and so on. And besides television or mainstream television, we also used online in order to reach to the Muslim community worldwide. Then we call that, at that time, we positioned TV Hijrah as the Islamic lifestyle media. Now I'm going to move on to my final part of my presentation, which is the concept of the Madani government. The concept of the Madani government is an ambitious national philosophy introduced in 2023 by our Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim to guide Malaysia towards a more civilized, skilled, and inclusive nation based on shared values and good governance. The core idea is to build a nation that is pluralistic, a pluralistic society and just society, right? Rooted in ethics and values, rather than solely on material progress, using the Madani or the Medina Charter as a moral compass. The Madani framework are based on sustainability, prosperity, innovation, respect, trust, and compassion. So the Medina Charter or the Medina Charter or Constitution, which was written in 622 AD during the time of our Prophet Muhammad, is the first, probably the first in the world to have a written constitution.
Excuse me, Mr. Adi.
Yeah.
I'm afraid the time is up.
Okay, I will finish it off.
Okay.
In one minute. Okay. So the idea of the Madani government was to create a pluralistic society whereby the principles of Islamic values are communicated. So the challenge for the Madani government really is how to communicate these values. And the use of integrated marketing communication is one of the ways in order to expound, or rather in order to communicate these ideals. And I think the challenge now, after 3 years, we can find that it is still a work in progress situation, right? So that's my presentation, and I apologize if I don't have slides, and I'm always happy to listen to your response. Thank you, Professor Aida, for inviting me. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much, Mr. Adi Satria, for the amazing sharing. Last but not least, for the first half of our program, I would like to invite Dr. Berfu Ilter from Afyon Kachatepe University, Turkey, and Associate Professor Dr. Aida Mokhtar from AHAS KRKHS IIUM Malaysia with their paper entitled IMC with a Conscience from the Turkish and Malaysian Perspectives. Please welcome.
Good evening. Best regards from Turkey, and thank you, Aida Muhtar, Associate Prof. Dr. Aida Muhtar. Our paper, IMC with a conscience from the Turkish and Malaysian perspectives. Change, please. Preview of points. Introduction, definition of Islamic IMC, Turkish perspective of Islamic IMC, Malaysian perspective of Islamic IMC, included industry, Islamic IMC messages, and replies. Change, please. You see the map. I am talking with you, Turkey, Afyonkarahisar Sea. For the Muslim market and target audiences, it is essential that marketing and integrated marketing efforts are Islamic. Religious sensitivity is important to ensure that IMC messages are effective. Turkey and Malaysia both have population with a Muslim majority. The official religion is Islam for Malaysia according to the constitution, but Turkey is a secular state. Turkey has about 88 million people and Malaysia has 36 million people according to Worldmeter 2025. Both nations allow other religions to be practiced. Next, please. Islamic marketing is a process of attempting to sell a product or service to customers and other stakeholders while keeping this process in accord with the principles of Islamic transaction. This includes maintaining halal for the products or services being marketed. Change, please. Islamic marketing can be defined as a process of value creation, that is, a process of making a product or service attractive to potential consumers. This is achieved by socially interacting with stakeholders to increase a product's value, adding symbolic meanings, and improving access to types of supply chains. Next, please. Prophet Muhammad's time, Islamic Integrated Marketing Communication, IMC. Islamic IMC is that which observes the marketing communicator's purpose of life, that is to revere Allah, sallallahu alayhi ta'ala, and to please Allah first and foremost before making sales. Next, please. Prophet Muhammad's time, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Prophet Muhammad began engaging into business activities at a young age of 12, where he followed his uncle Abu Talib in a caravan of trade to Damascus. Then, at the age of 25, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ continued his business activities with his wife Hatice. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ has had experiences in business matters, and they were often associated with ideal values that become good examples to his companies and ummah. A hadith narrated, change please. A hadith narrated by Abu Hurayra radiyallahu anh that a man came to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam demanding his debts and behaved rudely. The companions of Prophet Muhammad intended to harm him, but Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to them, "Leave him, for the creditor has the right to speak." Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam then said, Give him a camel of the same age as that of his. The people said, "O Allah's messenger, there is only one camel that is older and better than his." Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, "Give it to him, for the best amongst you is he who pays the rights of others handsomely." Change, please. Lessons learned from Hadith. The creditor may speak even if he is harsh. Rights must be fulfilled fully. Change, please. And the best among people are those who pay others' rights beautifully. This is important for Muslims. And change, please. We see now Turkish Islamic IMC messages for halal tourism and others for halal food. Others, change, please. Slide change, please. We see now Lezita for chicken food, halal food, and certificates, Islamic certificates. Change, please. Regulations. Turkey is a member of OIC. Turkey is a member of Organization of Islamic Cooperation and joined when it formed in 1969, one of the 57 member states. The Standards and Metrology Institute for Islamic Countries, it is part of OIC and headquarters are in Turkey. It decides on halal certification standards, and technical committee ensures that halal products and standards follow consistent rules. And other Jabatan, Kemajian Islam Malaysia, being among the organizations that JAKIM certifies with halal certification is considered an added value. Turkish certificate issued by CAS, International Certification, Inspection and Technical Control Service, and the Food and Consumer Goods Inspection and Certification Research Association are accepted by JAKIM. And other, please. World Halal Council, established in 1999 in Jakarta, Indonesia. The council aims to standardize halal certification and accreditation processes among organizations representing different countries worldwide. Change, please. The Food and Consumer Goods Inspection and Certification Research Association from Turkey is a member of the Council and participates in its annual conferences representing Turkey. And change, please. The first known standards in Turkey were enacted in the Ottoman Empire in 1502 under the name of the Bursa Municipal Law. These standards involve the gathering of professionals and experts to determine rules regarding product content, prices, and current practices. The aim was to eliminate any doubt or unknown aspects in commercial activities. Change, please. The Turkish Standards Institute was established in 1960 to create procedural and service standards for all types of materials and products. Since 2011, it has been carrying out halal certification activities in cooperation with the presidency of religious affairs. The certificates it issues are Halal Conformity Certificate, Halal Slaughter Certificate, and Halal Batch Conformity Certificate. And other, please. The word Halal Onion is a non-governmental organization founded in 2010 that conducts research, awareness raising, and certification activities for products and services. The Onion was established with the slogan Sustainable Auditing, Peaceful Consumption to raise consumer awareness and provide accurate information regarding food and other products. The Onion collaborates with Turkish Standards Institution and Turkish Accreditation Agency and applies SMIC standards in certification. Arena is certified by the World Halal Onion, Halal Food, Halal Agricultural Activities and Related Services, Halal Chemical Products and Cosmetics, Halal Service Locations, Halal Tourism, Halal Financing and Banking Services, Halal Transportation and Logistics Services, Halal Renewable Energy, Halal Other Products and Services. The Halal Food Inspection and Certification Center was established in 2010 by academics to ensure production and consumption that respects people and religious beliefs and to contribute to the protection of human and environmental health. And the Halal Accreditation Agency was established by decree dated 2018 to provide nationally and internationally recognized and reliable halal accreditation services to operate in the field of halal accreditation domestically and abroad to represent Turkey in international halal accreditation efforts and to take the lead in these efforts. It is the sole authorized body in Turkey to accredit halal conformity assessment bodies. The agency operates according to the standards set by the Islamic Country Standards and Metrology Institute, which is part of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation. Change please. Halal industry in Malaysia. Halal industry will become one of the main pillars of Malaysia's economy by 2030. According to Sarina, by the end of the 2013 planning period, the value of Malaysia's halal industry is estimated to reach around $130.2 million, with its contribution to gross domestic product amounting to 8.1%. Halal industry continues to grow with JACIM expediting halal certifications, and halal development cooperation continues to promote halal compliance and form halal industry park in Perak costing 124 million Malaysia ringgit. And the Global Islamic Economic Indicator ranked 81 countries by their enabling ecosystems. Malaysia retained the top spot for the 11th year, followed by Saudi Arabia, Indonesia, United Arab Emirates, and Bahrain. Islamic advertisement we see for Ramadan menu and other, again Islamic advertisement for cosmetic. Change please. Change please. Not all advertisements or marketing communication tools in Malaysia are Islamic, as there is no obligation for them to be Islamic, but they have to be sensitive to Malaysians that are multicultural. Change please. Malaysian Halal certification is managed by Department of Islamic Development JAKIM under the Prime Minister's Department in Malaysia. Halal certification is voluntary in Malaysia for companies but strongly encouraged. A study finds that as long as consumers are satisfied with halal food and beverage, they will be more loyal to brands that carry Malaysian halal certification. Islamic regulations for IMC, Content Code 2022 issued by Communications and Multimedia Content Forum Malaysia for radio, TV, online and digital platforms. Encourages media content to follow Malaysian values, not specifically Islamic. Change please. Encourages media content to follow Malaysian values, not specifically Islamic. Pornography, gambling, promotion, alcohol, or offensive content are not allowed. Change please. JAKIM Islamic Broadcasting Guidelines for audiovisual materials including films, dramas, documentaries, advertisement, video clips, montage, and other types of audiovisual materials to be broadcasted through television stations or produced in the form of CD, VCD, etc. for broadcasting and viewing purposes. TV and radio stations should follow these to operate. JAKIM, this is self-regulation for social media, websites, and apps. A study finds, change please, that not all television stations in Malaysia refer to JAKIM guidelines for their content as they are not affiliated with a law. Suggestions are: 1. JAKIM needs to be main regulatory authority, and 2. Islamic advertising law needed. Change please. Conclusion. Like other Islamic countries, Turkey considers Islamic standards when conducting its commercial and marketing activities. It's a member of various organizations established worldwide and acts in accordance with the standards created by these organizations. However, whether or not to comply with all these standards and rules is entirely related to entrepreneurs' conscience. Malaysia's halal certification is also voluntary, and it has guidelines that embrace Malaysian values and Islamic values. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Berfu, for the amazing insights.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will now proceed to the next segment, which is the first Q&A. I would like to welcome anybody from the floor who would like to ask any questions.
Okay, I can ask a question. I'd like to ask a question, Anissa. Right. I think I'd like to ask Prof. Jantima. Let me unpin this. Okay, now, basically Prof. Jantima spoke a lot about responsibility, isn't it, right? And ethics with regards to algorithms. And of course, we realize that, I mean, is the fact that there's such a thing as algorithms, does it mean that we're sort of losing control as a user and audience of what, we're sort of losing control a bit, we have to conform to algorithms, right? It seems that we're fed a lot of similar social media content, isn't it, right? And the thing is, we are so much into user-generated content. We can come up with our own content. We even provide this to advertising agencies so that they can use this, or brands so that they can use this content for their ads. But, do you think algorithms have affected our control of information flow? And yeah, how do you become a responsible user of social media then? Prof? Sorry, Prof, can you unmute, please? Unmute. Okay. Yes,
Did
Prof.
you hear me? Okay, sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's very difficult for me to use this one, and
It's
the
okay.
signal.
Yeah.
May you would you recap the question
Yeah.
again?
Yeah. Prof, you were saying about the whole idea of responsibility and ethics, and you linked it to algorithms, right? But algorithms have a way of feeding us information that possibly we don't like to see, isn't it, right? But and it's similar to what we've been seeing, but it's not exactly what we want to see, for example. So it's feeding us with information that it thinks that that basically based on all algorithms, it's feeding us information on what it thinks we like, basically, isn't it, right? The kind of information that, because when we see information, right, we look at information, we pore over information on social media or posts, we'll be then fed with similar information after that, isn't it? Yeah, because somehow the system has read what we like to look at. So does it mean that we have somehow lost control of our choice of content to a certain extent?
I think yes and no. We have to separate, because when you use the system,
Mm,
when you use the system, the algorithm, and like ChatGPT, you can ask, and then it will generate the answer for you. And it depends. If you notice that every time you give the question or instruction, the answer will not be the same, because it's the model, and actually the algorithm is there, so it's just processed, and then it's the system. I'm not that kind of engineer, but I just am the user, and I noticed that if you are responsible and use it with conscious, you will not lose your authority to control the answer.
right.
When you is they call it prompt. You have to learn how to talk to the system, because the technology, the system try to think like a human, but it never be a human. You can train them, you can train the machine, so you have to talk until because the algorithm is algorithm. They don't the system does not have human sense. Yeah, and because when I teach a student, the computer is the computer. It does not have the what is always linear thing, but the human is not linear. So we have imagination to what is missing, but also now the machine is what is a genius, but we are more genius. The responsibility is that if you are a responsible user, you have to see the answer and then try to resonate the answer what that the the machine give you,
Mm.
because what the machine give you is depend on previous information that store in
Mm.
them.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, if they store garbage,
Mm.
they'll give you a garbage.
Yeah.
Like before you have the word GIGO, garbage in, garbage out.
Mm.
So it's depend on what the system has, and the more you talk to them, and then you resonate the answer.
Mhm.
It's your responsibility. Even when you write so you have to see the answer and try experiment until the machine has sense.
Mm.
Has the sense, come to
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
Come to sense mean your sense, not their sense.
Yes. Yes.
You know what I mean? That is the
Mm.
nowadays the student they or
Mm.
some people they just use it and then get the first answer, the very first answer, and then even stop to see whether it's right or wrong or it's makes sense or not. Thing is like
Mhm.
that. So I still believe that we humans still have control, but we have to be conscious,
Mm.
responsible. Just
Yeah.
that. Conscious, I think, is the most important.
Very
Conscious
important.
what you are doing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and what you have to resonate.
Mm.
That is the responsible.
Yes.
If you are ethical,
Mm.
you will teach the machine to be ethical.
Right. So we're in control still, isn't it? We're in control.
I believe that we are still in control if you don't lose your conscious.
Mm.
Yes,
It's
that
very
that
interesting.
that is the underline, the bottom line
Mm. Yeah.
that I see.
Yeah. Thank you,
Okay.
Prof.
Yep.
Yeah. Anissa?
So can I question, Prof?
Yeah. Dr. Shahidul.
Yeah, yes.
Dr.
Thank you very
Shahidul
much.
was our former student, by the way.
Yeah, it's my
Graduate
pleasure.
student.
It's my pleasure to be your student. Yeah, thank you for organizing this very important seminar. My question is not to any particular one, but maybe you can choose who will answer because it's mixed. Let's say Prof. Idea started and she mentioned about that when the brands they are doing advertising or any other types of marketing, they need to be sensitive to the religious values of the consumers. Okay? But the professor or the person who presented a paper from Turkey, she mentioned that Jakim has some guidelines for the broadcasting. I mean, like different television channels, and then either it can be from audio sites also. But she mentioned that they don't maintain it because Jakim is not the main regulatory body, or they don't. Jakim has no authority to control all the channels. This is a problem. That means we believe that they need to maintain the sensitivity or respect the sensitivity, but still in Malaysia, according to this paper, we see some lacking. Also, the person I forgot the name, who was in advertising industry for long and a very respected senior person. He also raised some point that when you use the religious perspective, you should really, really take care of it. So maybe my answer can come firstly from Prof. Aida, because you are doing a lot about Islamic advertising, Islamic marketing, Islamic communication. So what's your observation? How to guide Malaysian government so that they also help Jakim to implement in all other ministries? Yeah, if they have any suggestions. And we can also learn from you in Bangladesh. We can apply, other Muslim countries like Turkey, Indonesia can apply. Yeah. Hope my point is clear, Prof.
Yes, yeah. Thank you so much, Dr. Shahidul. Yeah, yes, it is. It's the thing is, of course, Jakim's guidelines. They don't have legal weight. Yeah, they're not affiliated to a law. So this is why when Nurin, my former master's student, did research, guided by myself, of course, and it was published for her dissertation, she found out that Jakim's guidelines were not used by some television stations because they felt that it didn't have to be used, it didn't have to be applied because they don't have to go to JAKIM for any approval. So that's why. So of course, if you look at JAKIM's guidelines, and then if you look at the content code, they are a bit different in the sense that one, JAKIM guidelines is more Islamic. It talks about Aqidah, yeah, and so forth. And the thing is, if you look at the content code, it looks like it's a content code for Malaysians. It's got the Malaysian standard of decency, right? How Malaysians describe as ads being decent, for example. Because, of course, there's this idea that, which is true, that Malaysians are made of Indians, Chinese, and Malays, not only Malays per se. So, they have to, of course, consider the decency of, at the Malaysian level. Now, how could I believe if you look at ads roughly, you will see that the ads, video ads, for example, you will see that there are a lot more hijabis. Yeah, there are a lot more women wearing hijabs. Even among celebrities, there are more women wearing hijabs as well. And you will see this transformation in real life, and you see it slowly being found in ads as well. So even without the JAKIM guidelines, they are encouraged, but they're not compulsory, is that they're not mandatory for everyone to use. But the thing is, and if you look at the research, they haven't been applied. But the thing is, in real life, you will see that there is this transformation somehow. You will see more celebrities wearing hijab. And this is, of course, very comforting to see, isn't it? It's very nice to see. And of course, we also respect the rights of non-Muslims as well, isn't it? Right? And as long as they wear decently, in advertising, especially, which is, it's got images and it's reinforcing images and messages, and it's normalizing images, isn't it? Right? So of course, people are a bit concerned if there's the image of a boy who is, rude, okay, behaving rudely in advertisements, because you're telling people that this is the right way to behave. So it's a bit concerned. Of course, when I interviewed several chairpersons of the censorship board in Malaysia, they were concerned. They did tell me that, they were concerned that television, is open to everyone and that people are affected. So this is good. The fact that the censorship board sees that people, the mass audiences, are affected by messages, which is good. In real life, I see this happening. I see a lot more ads, and I've been also examining ads recently. 66 video advertisements in 2021 and 2025, and I realized that the most salient or dominant value is collectivism. It's collectivism, which reflects the Malaysian value by Hofstede, as well as the Islamic value, isn't it? Right? So this is still very strong in our ads, and you see that the portrayal of women, there are a lot more women wearing hijab. So alhamdulillah, I think there is this slow transformation. Slowly but surely, we probably, because this is something, of course, celebrities, especially, they need to be encouraged, of course, to adopt Islamic behavior. Okay, and you were talking, so Dr. Bufu and I wrote that paper, and I wrote that part, which says that this is the truth. We have to be sensitive. That's the ideal, that's the academic perception. But of course, in the real world, they're not going by the guidelines, but it doesn't mean that they are offensive in general. The ads are offensive in general. They're scrutinized by the censorship board for television, for example. And of course, on social media, you have CMCF and taking in our complaints, right? So that's how it works. All right. So
may I add,
Dr.
Aida?
Yes.
I think the the concept of decency in advertising has already been a long practice since the 70s. Anything that is broadcast over television has to go into the censorship board, and it's very strictly. Now we are more concerned about the advertising in social media. But you must also understand that when you are going to promote a brand, you have to look at the requirements and the sensitivities of the customer itself. It doesn't matter whether you're a Muslim or non-Muslim customer. I think the concept of decency applies to everybody. Like I said, you can say Christian advertising or Islamic advertising, as long as the message, the value of the brand that you are marketing resonates well with the consumer, they will buy it. It doesn't matter what about it, because generally speaking, anything that's offensive, the majority of the customers or consumers will reject it anyway. I mean, in Malaysian society, for example, you don't expect to see half naked women or men, for example, going around and promoting a brand, and that happens in the West, but within the society where the religious values are very strong, this thing is no actually. So there is such a thing as self-regulation, and the Malaysian Content Code itself is one of the ways of consumers complaining or making complaints about any kind of advertisement that does not conform to the standards of decency. Isn't that right? Yeah, that's how we self-regulate ourselves also.
Excuse me, Dr. Aida and Mr. Adi. The time for the Q&A is out.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for the question and the amazing answers as well. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now continue to the next half of our sharing session by IEM Master students. Without further ado, let us proceed with the first group. Farhana Afroz, MD Samuel Islam Joy, and Hana Hayati binti Mahadi from IEM Malaysia with their paper entitled Bangladeshi Muslim Marketing Students' Awareness and Understanding of Tawhidic Epistemology and Marketing Education. Please welcome.
Assalamualaikum. May you present my slide? Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Hana, together with Farhana and Joy. Today we will be presenting our paper, A Comparative Study of Bangladeshi and Malaysian Muslim Marketing Students' Awareness and Understanding of Tawhidic Epistemology in Marketing Education. Although our first intention was to get only the student perceptions of Bangladeshi students, we changed our paper to be a comparative study to show the two dimensions of both Muslim majority countries. Next slide. Bangladesh, a country with 90% Muslim population, Islamic banking sector growing rapidly, halal markets expanding, consumer behavior driven by religiosity. Business students themselves overwhelmingly believe religious values shape corporate ethics. Yet, step into a marketing classroom and you'll find textbooks from New York and London, advertising theories developed in secular contexts, zero mention of Islamic principles in curriculum design. This isn't just an academic oversight. It reflects a deeper crisis. Next slide. We call this epistemological fragmentation, the separation of knowledge into isolated fragments. In classical Islamic education, all disciplines were interconnected through divine unity. Mathematics revealed God's order, medicine served human dignity, business required justice and honesty. Modern Muslim universities have adopted Western compartmentalization. We teach marketing as technical skill, ethics as separate optional course, faith as personal matter irrelevant to profession. The result, students graduate unable to integrate their deepest beliefs with their professional training. Next slide. Why this matters? Previous research shows students want this integration. 72% of Indonesian Islamic school students desire Islamic content and materials. Malaysian universities successfully integrate Islamic principles, yet Bangladeshi universities remain entirely secular despite their Islamic missions. Yet, no comparative study has examined why integration succeeds in some institutions and fails in others. Next slide. Our research objectives. We designed this study with 3 objectives. Research objectives 1, to analyze the structural integration or absence of Tawhidic epistemology within the IMC curricula at a Bangladeshi Islamic university compared to a Malaysian Islamic university. RO2, to examine faculty perspectives on pedagogical strategies and the institutional barriers that constrain or enable the teaching of Islamic marketing ethics. RO3, to analyze how the curriculum structure influences students' professional identity formation and understanding of marketing epistemology. Next slide. Research questions. These objectives translated into 3 specific questions, which is RQ1, how is the IMC curriculum structured regarding Tawhidic epistemological integration at a Malaysian Islamic University and Bangladeshi Islamic University? RQ2, what are the faculty perspectives and institutional barriers regarding Islamic integration? RQ3, how does the curriculum structure influence students' professional identity formation and understanding of marketing epistemology? Now, Farhana will explain our theoretical framework and research design.
Thank you, Hana. Okay. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I am Farhana Afroz, and in this part, I will briefly talk about what previous research says, the framework we used, and how we conducted our study. So from the literature, we identified 3 gaps. And these are the main gaps. First, there is a strong demand for Islamic values in education. Studies by Alam established in 2023 and Islam 2023 showed that 93% of Bangladeshi business students believe religious values influence corporate ethics. Islamic banking and related industries are growing, but despite this, most university curriculum are still largely secular. Second, students actually want Islamic interrogation. According to Rahmati, 2022 found that 72% of Indonesian Islamic school students prefer Islamic content in their studies. Compared to Bangladesh, Malaysian institutions have been more successful in integrating Islamic perspective into education. Third is implementation is weak. According to Soryadi, 2018, in a study, UIN Jakarta found that even when students and teachers support Islamic content, teachers often lack resources and institutions lack clear guidelines. As a result, Islamic identity exists more in mission statement than just actual classroom practice. So the gap is that there is no competitive research explaining why Islamic interrogation works in some Muslim institutions but fails in others. That's where our study comes in. Next slide, please. Okay. And our study uses Tawhidic epistemology developed by our Honorable Rectors Osman Bakar. And Bakar explained that classical Islamic education viewed all knowledge as connected because it comes from Allah. However, modern Muslim education has adopted a Western system where religion and professional knowledge are separated. Based on this idea, we examine whether curriculum reflect our four key Islamic principles taken from Umar, established 2024, and Muqta 2023. Siddiq, truthfulness, and Amana, trust and responsibility, Tabligh, clarity and transparency, and Masala, serving the public good and not just profit. And we use this principle as a benchmark to see whether real Islamic interrogation is happening. Next slide, please. We use a qualitative comparative case study approach. First, we conducted semi-structured interviews with 6 participants, 2 faculty members and 4 students from Islamic University in Malaysia and Bangladesh. Participation were selected using purposive sampling, and interviews lasted between 30 to 60 minutes. Second, we analyze curriculum documents, including course outline, syllabus, and textbook from the both institutions. For analysis, we used hybrid thematic analysis. We applied our theoretical framework while also remaining open to new themes that emerged from the data. And in this process resulted in 3 major findings which directly address our research question, and which will be explained by my colleague Samuel Islam Joy. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I'm Muhammad Samuel Islam Joy, and I will present the 3 findings with emphasis on our research question answers. So after analyzing the course outline of Malaysian Islamic University, we found another thing that we need to mention, that we have opted for anonymizing all the participants and the universities in order to their preferences and to integrate or not harm their reputations, and we would be explaining it more again. So after analyzing with course outline of Malaysian Islamic University, we found that it has week 2 dedicated a module on IMC Islam in their IMC course that is positioned early in before integrating Western frameworks. And also the university faculty member interviewed has also stated that 30 to 40% of a semester integrates Islamic perspectives, and faculty has developed their own materials that integrate Islamic concept as well. On the other hand, Bangladeshi Islamic University documents showed that 12 mechanically sequenced Western topics, all textbooks were Western. For example, Smith and Taylor, Duncan and Tom, Clow and Back editions. And we found 0 dedicated Islamic models, and faculty has agreed that they attempted to voluntary improvisations or integration only without any institutional guideline. So there are 3 key mechanisms that explain this difference. One is temporal positioning, means that the placement of week 2 of Islamic frameworks are foundational, and for the context of Bangladesh University, the absence signals that Islam is optional. Second mechanism is material integration, that faculty developed materials signal institutional commitment. And on the other hand, Western only textbook signals that Islam is an external to the discipline. The design philosophy is that Malaysian Islamic University treats Islam as intrinsic. On the other hand, Bangladeshi Islamic Universities treats Islam as a peripheral option. So to answer our research question 1, no, previous slide, please. Okay, so to answer our research question 1, Malaysian curriculum embeds Tawhidic epistemology through temporal priority, faculty developed materials, and integrated design. On the other hand, Bangladeshi curriculum embeds epistemological isolation or fragmentation through mechanical sequencing, Western textbook dependency, and zero dedicated modules. Structure is not neutral. It either prevents or reinforces the fragmentation of Islamic of marketing education. Next slide, please. So our finding two are that we found 4 institutional barriers, although both faculty members of both universities expressed equally strong commitment to Islamic values, yet outcomes differ drastically, and we explore why. So the 4 institutional barriers that prevent integration of Tawhidic epistemology is barrier 1, which the interviewed of Bangladeshi Islamic University faculty mainly mentioned, is that barrier material absence, that no Islamic IMC textbooks exist in Bengali or mostly studying Bengali context or in English for their guidelines or their study outline. Barrier 2 is structural rigidity. 12 mandated topics with accreditation requirements leave no time for Islamic integration. Barrier 3 is institutional support absence. We see that Malaysian University mandates Islamic integration in their mission statement with protected faculty autonomy. On the other hand, Bangladeshi University provides zero resources or guidelines for its integration. The last barrier is that we found employability myth, where the faculty believe Islamic emphasis will limit job prospects despite Bangladesh's 90% Muslim population and growing Islamic banking and halal market expansion. So to answer our second research question, that faculty intention is universal for both institutions, but institutional context determines whether intention becomes a reality, and 4 structural barriers prevent Bangladeshi faculty from translating his intent into practice. And yeah, so if we move on to the next slide. So our finding 3 is epistemological identity formation. So Malaysian students describe Islam and marketing as unified and inseparable, and proposed that more Islamic case studies to be integrated to their studies as to deepen their integration, not as an initiation of Islamic epistemology in their curricula. On the other hand, Bangladeshi students describe curriculum as fundamentally secular and wanted Islamic content conditionally, only if paired with digital marketing skills or other hard skills, not for the valuation of Islamic ethics. Islamic ethics alone had no perceived value for the interviewed students. So with the 4 authentication markers that we found is that knowledge integration in Malaysian students view Islam and marketing knowledge as unified as stated, and Bangladeshi students view them as separate. And professional identity, Malaysian students define professional identity as inherently Islamic, and on the other hand, Bangladeshi students separate religious from professional identity. Just give me 3 to 4 minutes, I'll end up. So the career perception of Malaysian students is that they see Islamic knowledge as competitive advantage, and Bangladeshi students view it as sector-specific liability. I remember we interviewed someone and he said that Islamic knowledge is only applicable to some specific niches. Generational reproduction is that Malaysian students will teach are taught integrated epistemology. On the other hand, Bangladeshi students are taught fragmented epistemology. And this cycle will be perpetuated, and they will continue to teach this to the next generations. So to answer our research question 3, the curriculum structure is a mold, and students absorb the epistemology embedded in that structure and reproduce it. Malaysian graduates carry integrated epistemology into their careers. On the other hand, Bangladeshi graduates perpetuate the myth that Islam and marketing are separate domains. This is not individual choice in our findings. This is epistemological inheritance that they had inherited. So if we move on to the next slide. So we do have certain limitations of our study. The first one is the sample size, which is the most prominent limitations, that 6 participants enable theoretical transfer, but it's not statistical generalization. And we are not also claiming for generalization. And secondly is observational gap. We couldn't observe the actual teaching, as most of the Bangladeshi respondents were interviewed remotely, and we only had retrospective accounts. And as I have said, that the anonymity trade-off, that complete institutional anonymization protects the participants but prevents independent verification. And lastly, it is the career experience. The current students speculated about employability without their workforce experience. So if you could have interviewed current marketing practitioners, then it would have more gravity. So with the next slide, please. We have 5 recommendations for the Bangladeshi Islamic universities, which is: 1, institutionalize Tawhidic epistemology in mission statements with accountability mechanisms. Second is dedicate 7 to 10% of IMC course time to Islamic marketing ethics, similar to the Malaysian university, taught in week 1 or 2 as something foundational. Third is develop indigenous Bengali and English IMC textbooks, integrating the prophetic principles as well as Quranic commands. 4 is to counter the employability myth that the faculty and the students have with the longitudinal studies tracking the employment outcomes. And 5 is align evaluation with epistemological commitments. If Islamic business ethics aren't graded, students learn they don't matter. So next slide, please. Our research extends existing scholarship in 3 ways. First is epistemological silence operates through structural absence, not only social pressure. Curriculum design functions like algorithmic suppression. Students internalize absence as irrelevance. Second contribution is to Tawhidic epistemology, provides analytic framework for communication or marketing studies as well. For billions of Muslims navigating knowledge systems, Islamic epistemology is found as foundational. Contribution 3 is that curriculum structure is epistemological power. Structure is not a neutral infrastructure. It determines whether students internalize integration or they internalize fragmentation. So to conclude, next slide, please. So to conclude our presentation, I would say the choice ahead is that the Malaysian Islamic University demonstrates that systematic Tawhidic integration is achievable, and students graduate with unified professional Islamic identity. On the other hand, Bangladeshi Islamic University shows that Islamic institutional branding without structural integration produces fragmented graduates. So the choice is clear for the universities. The choice is clear that to continue claiming Islamic identity while teaching secular marketing, or to commit to substance, develop textbooks, grant faculty autonomy, redesign the curricula, change the employability myth with courage. And that's all for our paper. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to our speakers for the wonderful sharing. Next, I would like to invite Naura Nawalita Afrianti and Nuzul Fatli Ramadan from IIM Malaysia with their paper entitled Muslim Women's Perspective on Warda's Integrated Marketing Communication Campaigns in Indonesia and Malaysia, a Hierarchy of Effects Theory Perspective. Please welcome.
Okay. Okay, can you everyone see my slides? All right. Cek. Assalamualaikum. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good evening, everyone. It is an honor to be the part of this conference with such insightful panelists and discussion. And We would also like to thank for Dr. Aida for allowing us to share our research findings today and introduce myself. My name is Nuzul, and I'm presenting this research together with my colleague, Naura Normalita Afrianti. We are coming from Indonesia. We will be presenting our research under title Muslim Women's Perspective on Wardah's Integrated Marketing Communication Campaigns in Indonesia and Malaysia, a hierarchy of effect model perspective. But before I start, I have a question. How many of you here are familiar with the brand Wardah? If you know the brand, please give me a thumbs up. Okay, so many people, right? Yeah, thank you very much for responding. Yeah, we know that Wardah is actually one of the most well-known halal beauty brand in Southeast Asia, especially in Indonesia and Malaysia. So, which makes it a very interesting case to study. So, we choose this topic because halal cosmetic are becoming an important part of Muslim women's lives. So, not only as beauty product, but also as expression of religious and ethical values. So, Wardah also is very interesting case because it is a leading halal beauty brand in Indonesia, and it also expanded to Malaysia where the cultural context is similar but not exactly the same. Through our research, we want to understand how Muslim women actually respond to the Wardah's marketing, IMC marketing, especially when faith and values are involved. So the halal cosmetic industry is growing very fast as Muslim consumers are becoming more aware of halal compliance, safety, and also the ethical values. In Indonesia, Wardah stands out as a pioneer and a market leader. It was established on 1995 under Paragon Corp from Indonesia, and this brand combines Islamic values, product innovation, and also IMC, of course. And Wardah has also expanded to Malaysia. Even though both countries share a Muslim identity, they have different cultural and consumer contexts. So the previous studies show that IMC is very important for building and trust. For Muslim cosmetic are not just about beauty, but also about religious and moral values. And then Wardah has actively used IMC and expanded across borders, especially in Southeast Asia. But however, we still do not clearly understand how Muslim women respond to these campaigns. And most studies focus only on the final outcomes, not on how responses are formed step by step. So, and then faith-based values in consumer interpretation are also often overlooked. There are several gaps in the literature. Most studies are quantitative and outcome focused, and also few studies use the hierarchy of effect models in halal marketing, and then qualitative and comparative studies between Indonesia and Malaysia are also still limited. So based on these gaps, the goal of our research is to understand how Muslim women respond to Wardah's IMC marketing communication using the hierarchy of effect model. Especially the study, our research compares responses from Muslim women in Indonesia and Malaysia. And the main research question asks how Muslim women respond to Wardah's IMC campaigns at each stage of the HOE in both countries. Uh, and then for the significance of the study, as theoretically, our research halal branding in IMC research using a stage-based and value-oriented approach, and practically, our research will offer insight for halal beauty brands to design more effective and culturally sensitive IMC campaigns. For the literature review, the first IMC is about making sure all brand messages are consistent across different channels. Instead of sending mixed message, brand communicate with one clear voice. And then, according to Belch, IMC bring together advertising, PR, promotion, and digital media to build a strong and trusted brand. This consistency help increase awareness, build trust, and encourage loyalty. The second area is the halal beauty industry. This industry is growing because consumers care more about halal ingredients, safety, and religious compliance. And halal cosmetic must avoid prohibited ingredients and go through proper testing and certification. But however, different halal standards across countries can sometimes confuse the consumer. Halal beauty brands need to communicate halal values clearly and consistently, especially when entering different markets. For the theoretical framework, our research employ the HOE model to explain how consumers move from awareness to purchase. Each stage represents a different type of response to WADA's IMC campaign. And we also add Tawhidic epistemology as an interpretive lens. It helps explain how faith-based values shape trust, preference, and ethical confidence throughout the process. The methodology that we employ is a qualitative case study to explore Muslim women's perception in depth. The data were collected through semi-structured interview with 10 Muslimah women from Indonesia and Malaysia who are using or following Wardah. And the data were analyzed thematically using HOE model to identify patterns of awareness, trust, preference, and also the purchase behavior. Passing to now explain about our findings and discussion. Hello, Naura.
All right, thank you so much, Brother Musul. And now I will explain about result and discussion and also recommendation and conclusion. Okay, first result and discussion based on the 10 people, female participants aged between 23 until 35 years old. Participants from Indonesia and Malaysia. They are represented from occupational and educational background, including professional and student to pursuing master and doctoral degrees. Next. Okay, first about the first stage awareness. Indonesia and Malaysia aware with WADA in different ways. Indonesian women first time they know about WADA from their mother. So word of mouth and television advertisement have an important role to introducing the brand. In digital age, social media platforms like Instagram and TikTok help to strengthen their awareness. It's different with Malaysia women consumers. They know first time about WADA from retail experience and digital exposure. They know WADA from the store like Edson and Guardian, and then when they go to Indonesia going to beauty store and they receive the recommendation from sales assistant, and also social media now give the contribute to their awareness about that brand. So word of mouth and social media are the key to share awareness in Indonesia. In Malaysia, retail presence and social media is the key. Next. Next slide. Next slide. Okay, about knowledge. Indonesian women know about the brand WADA mostly in Instagram and TikTok in this generation. Because from the social media, they know the product better because they watch makeup tutorial and skincare tips. So they have the knowledge that WADA is a trusted Indonesian halal brand with a halal certification, safe product approval, and modern Muslimah image. In Malaysia, they know that product first time in the store and they want to know more about the benefit also from the sales assistant, and they have knowledge that Wardah is a halal and Muslim friendly brand with a halal ingredients and wudu friendly products. So in both countries, people got Wardah values or messages are clear and easy to understand. Next slide. Okay, next about liking. Indonesian women really like Wardah in a social media platform. They feel positive because the content is educational, inspiring, and often they talks about woman empowerment. This makes Wardah feel trusted, meaningful, and close to their life. It shows that the emotional stories and inspirational messages help Wardah build good feelings and strong brand image in Indonesia. In Malaysia, women feel neutral with Wardah social media platform because they like this brand from visual product like the color and then the Islamic image like the hijabi models, halal image, and their liking is based on the product value, not based on the emotional stories. Next slide. Okay, about the preference. Indonesian women prefer choose Wardah as a brand because it's halal, easy to find, and affordable. However, they still open to choose other brand if the brand look more trendy or give better results. It's different with a Malaysian woman consumer because it's looks loyalty with certain product. Example in the makeup like a foundation, blush on or lipstick. They prefer to use Wardah because of the Islamic image very strong and how well the product on their skin. Next slide. Conviction. Indonesian consumer trust with this brand, Wardah, because of the value and social proof. They confident to buy influenced by product review on the social media. In Malaysia consumer, they trust with the brand because have strong Islamic identity and they confident to buy based on the product trial. The next. Okay, the last touch in the hierarchy of event model is action. Indonesia higher online engagement with brand Wadah. They most active in online engagement like comment, share, join the live streaming, join the program, and they also purchase the product mostly in online. The action mainly that influenced by influencer review, testimonial, and community program. It's different with a Malaysian women consumer. They less active on social media because they have a strong buying behavior through offline purchase at the beauty store like Western and Guardian. Their actions are mainly motivated by trial product. It means Malaysian women consumers want to choose that product directly in the store rather than buy it online. So Indonesia are more active in online platform, but Malaysia dependent more in the store experience personal product. Next.
Okay, thank you, Sister Laura. So we know that the hierarchy of effects stage of consumer. However, it does not fully capture how Muslim women interpret marketing through faiths and moral values. Therefore, our research used Tawhidic epistemology as an interpretive lens to understand their response at each stage. So, in this slide, we interpret Muslim women's response using TE, which is rooted in the concept of Tawhid, the oneness of God. And from this perspective, daily action, including consumption, are understood as part of religious responsibility, guided by the teaching of the Quran and also Hadith. So at the awareness stage, Wardah is often introduced through family in ways that already reflect Islamic norms. So the brand is perceived as religiously acceptable from the beginning. At the knowledge stage, Muslim women seek halal ingredients and certification because Islam encourage seeking knowledge or al-ilm to ensure action comply with Allah's commands. At the lacking stage, emotional comfort comes from knowing that the brand aligns with Islamic values, modesty, and moral conduct emphasized in the Quran and also Sunnah. Preference, it reflects moderation and balance, wasatiyah, where choices are guided without ignoring practical need. Conviction emerged when halal certification and consistent Islamic identity reduce the religious doubt and strengthen moral certainty before God. Finally, the purchasing and loyalty are seen as part of ethical conduct, which is muamalah, where consumers aim to make choices that are halal, responsible, and accountable to Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. So overall, this show that Muslim women's response to Wadah's IMC are shaped by faith at every stage. So in line with the Quran and also Hadith. Sister Nora, please continue.
Okay, and then a recommendation for Wada brand. Uh, Consumers say that WADA must encourage to give personal product guides such as like a simple tutorial based on the skin type and skin problem so user can get the better results. And real and honest review including before and after photos and simple everyday makeup looks are very important for consumers because engagement can be increased by using interactive content like a Q&A, polls and challenge and by showing a new product innovation. In Indonesia, also consumers want to see the more diverse skin tones as a brand ambassador because mostly now I can see that brand ambassador is from the bright color, so maybe can represent this with the other skin colors. And in Malaysia, they have recommendation to give the special themes like Hari Raya makeup. And the last is a conclusion. Okay, next slide, Brother Musul. So we can conclude that overall Wadah marketing works well in both Indonesia and Malaysia, but in different ways. Indonesia consumers are mostly influenced by social media, influencer marketing, and community program. In Malaysia, consumers mostly influenced by in-store experience and Islamic visual identity. Indonesia still need a more education about the deeper meaning of halal, but in Malaysia already understand Wada as a brand that support Muslim lifestyle, friendly routine, and then the halal ingredients. And Indonesia show a strong online engagement. In Malaysia, show that strong offline buying behavior. So we can conclude that one should use a product review content and community marketing based in Indonesia to do the IMC, and in Malaysia using experience based and product trial in the store. That's all about us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to both of our speakers for the wonderful sharing. Last but not least, please welcome Fidel Gaspar Coelho Silva Pereira, Bataido, and Unaisha binti Naina Muhammad from IUM Malaysia with their paper entitled Faith in Advertising, Applying Tawhid Epistemology to the Practice of Integrated Marketing Communication, a Systematic Review. Please welcome.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity given to our group. Everyone can hear voice?
Yes, Fidel.
Okay, so now I continue. Thank you opportunity for the giving to our group. Today we feel truly delighted because we can have our opportunity to present in our finding for today's presentation. Assalamualaikum everyone. So now we want to start our presentation for today. As you know, our topic for today's presentation is the faith in advertising, to the practice of the ethical marketing communication and systematic review. This is our topic for today's presentation. Why you choose this? The Tawidic epistemology, the systematic review. The key message is simple. We want to upgrade from being able to spread information to spreading information responsibly. This is why we choose this topic. Now I move to the next slide, I think, Brother Islam. Can you move to the next slide, brother? Yes, now we move to the next slide. Research background. IMC has changed, but has ethics. IMC involved from the tactical coordination consistently across the channel to the strategic process, organizational relationship, and also value. Digitalization, platform, integration, make continuous and more personalized and more visible. AI makes persuasion more precise, but risk and are also more concentrated to manipulation and also black box. Now you can say this IMC is not a big advertising, but well influenced by the integrated marketing communication every day, often without noticing many of us feel we are fully chosen by the reality. We are being guided through the design journey across the platform. For example, you might watch a short video where the product is a casual instruction. See the comment asking for a link. Next, there is a limited time stock alert. After that, you can see the same item again in a live streaming, and then again check the again. Please move for the next slide, I think. Okay, the problem statement for the today presentation. The problem statement, we have three problem statements. The first one is the mainstream in IMC often treat the ethic as external components rather than logic within this framework. Second, we have driven by the AI data. The way in which consumers are influenced are becoming more subtle and harder to detect. The last one, in Muslim halal context, communication is also involved religious ethic and social responsibility, making it more sensitive and requiring a more supportive framework. Now we move to I want to explain the first problem statement. The first problem statement is in many mainstream models, the ethic is treated like external components, sometimes checked after the strategy built AI-driven environment. Influence can be subtle, hard to detect. It may not look like obvious, but advertisement may look like a ranking or recommendation, default setting, and repeated exposure to the behavior. Now we move to the explanation of the drive-in by the AI data, ways in which the consumer are influenced, becoming more stable and hard to detect, and also the last one in the Muslim context and halal. In the Muslim and halal context, the communication is even more sensitive because it's involves moral responsibility, not only the legal standards. So the challenge is not simplified, but can communicate effectively, but we can communicate effectively while remaining ethical, governed, and socially responsible. This is really important. Now, I think the next slide, because of the time. I think the significance of the study first. I think. Okay, now we move to the research objective and also research question. Can you build the ethic into the IMC instead of testing after this fact? Now we have the three research objective for this paper. The first one is systematic review to the research trajectory for the IMC in the term of the digitalization and AI ethics. Second objective is to identify recurring ethical in the traditional IMC framework. The last one objective that struck the ethical principle and governance pathways offered by Tawhidic epistemology. Now I want to explain the first objective. The first objective to systematically review how the research connect IMC with the digitalization, artificial intelligence, and ethics. Second is to identify the requiring ethical shortcoming in the traditional IMC framework, especially under the platform governance and data-driven targeting. The number three is to extract the ethical principle governance pathways from the Tawhidic epistemology, so we can move from the critique and structured direction for the ethical IMC. In short, we are mapping what the literature say, the locating the gaps and the drawing the out ethical foundation that can guide a modern IMC practice. Next slide, please. I think this is the last slide for my part, I think, because of the time. Now, finally, the method how we conduct the systematic review. This is really important, how to know how we conduct the systematic review. The first one, we have a research design, the qualitative systematic literature review. Number two, we have a data source, multiple database, and core journals, classic IMC text using the selection logic and describe it in the paper. Number three, we have analyzed method, coding, classification, and thematic synthesis. Now I want to explain the first one, research design, qualitative systematic literature review. The first research design, qualitative systematic literature review. That means we focus on meaning and the pattern in the literature rather than statistical meta-analysis. Second is data research. We draw from multiple database called journals and also classic IMC text following the selection logic described in the paper. Number three, of course, the analysis method we apply, the coding, then classification, and the thematics in order or to organize the selected study into the themes, compare how scholars discuss IMC, ethics under the digitalization and also AI, and the synthesis a coherent conceptual understanding. So that concluded my part. Next, I want to give in time to my teammate, Brother TD. Please present your presentation to the
Thank you, Peter.
okay.
Yes. Next slide, please. So for this slide, we first give a high-level map of our findings. The six requirements of from the systemic review. We use the semantic analysis to connect the fragmented discussions across IMC, digitalization, AISX, and Islamic epistemology. The six themes are strategic integration, digital transformation, and platform convergence, AI-driven persuasion, ethical deficit, tawhidic unity, and halal communication governance. We can read them as a chain: stronger IMC to stronger AI-enabled persuasion to bigger ethical gaps to the need for tawhidic and halal governance foundation. Next slide, please. So for the first time, strategic integration, early integration look like one focus on consistent messages and a unified image across channels. Step one shows that IMC integration is not just combining channels, but making organizational communication one coherent system. As IMC becomes strategic, it shifts voice to long-term relationships and trust with stakeholders. For example, climbing sustainability everywhere when while live streaming stockpiling tactics is message consistency without value consistency. Next slide, please. So for theme 2 explains how digitalization turns communication from a combined into an always on presence in every phase. Convergence connects content, social integration, and commerce. So moving from seeing to buying barely leaves the same. For instance, a travel vlog featuring a suitcase can look like live sharing, yet it may already integrate endorsement and purchase access. Next slide, please. Theme 3 is the core. AI intensifies persuasion through prediction, automation, and real-time optimization. Messages can feel tailor-made, which sounds helpful, but also makes influence more precise and less noticeable. For example, if the system learns you are more impulsive late at night, it concentrates limited over message in the window. Okay, next slide. So for theme 4, executive deficit highlights an executive deficit complaints alone cannot handle invisible nudges and algorithmic opacity. When persuasion becomes more personalist and hidden, gray zones become easier to normalize. For example, without clear sponsorship disclosure, native content can feel like friend advice, blurring whether you are informed or engaged. Next slide, please. Term 5 provides the foundation. Targeted unity links knowledge, values, and action. Communication must start with why we do it. It reframes audience as moral agents with dignity and expands evaluation beyond ROI to harm and accountability. For example, can collect data is not enough necessity, transparency, and potential harm are the real test. Next slide, please. So for the next and the last theme, applies the halal communication. Not only must the products be halal, but communication measures must also be moral ordered. It emphasizes that truthfulness, trust, justice, and moderation, especially in digital and AI contexts where intent can be hidden. For instance, accident marketing that pushes stockpiling may violate moderation and non-harm even if the product is complained. So we now give time to Sister Unesha explain TIMC conceptual model. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum everyone, and thank you so much to my brothers Fidel Pereira and Matado. So I'll be talking about the core contributions. Can we change the slide, please? Yeah, core contributions and ethical components. Now, the framework operationalizes Tawhidic epistemology through 5 ethical constructs relevant to IMC. The first will be Sidq, Amanah, Adil, Wasatya, and accountability. I just started, so please bear with me. Truthfulness, ensuring accuracy, honesty, and clarity in all communication content, including digital and AI-generated messages. This is by Muhtaran Bahari. It's always a pride to cite our own professors. Second will be Amana, which is trust. We uphold responsibility in data use, message design, and stakeholder relationship, particularly in digital environment. Adil, justice, avoiding exploitation, discrimination, and unfair persuasion, especially in algorithmic targeting practices. Wasatya, moderation, promoting balanced consumption and resisting excessive commercialization of social and cultural spaces. And accountability, we have two, which is Hifz al-Nafs and Hifz al-Din, which is the preservation of life and preservation of religion. Can we go to the next one? Now, Tawhidic integrated marketing communication conceptual model. From the systematic review, we came up with this conceptual model. And we have the Tawhidic epistemology, strategic IMC integration, digitalization, ethical governance, Sidq, Amanah, and IMC outcomes. Just give me a moment. So the conceptual model of Tawhidic Integrated Marketing Communication TIMC proposed in this study positions Tawhidic epistemology as the foundational worldview that informs, governs, and evaluates all IMC-related activities. Unlike conventional IMC models, which typically begins with organizational strategy or market objectives, the TIMC model originates from an epistemological and moral foundation that recognizes the unity of knowledge, ethics, and action. So, this foundational orientation ensures that communication strategy is not detached from moral accountability but is continuously guided by ethical intention and social responsibility. We can go to the next. Right. How TIMC is implemented in real-world communication project. Now, it is the intention to serve genuine needs or to exploit vulnerable emotion. Is the intention again and again. Second will be unifying not only the narrative but also ethical boundaries. Third, we ask 3 questions for technology. Is the data collected necessary? Second, is it transparent? And third, who will it harm? Yeah. So there are 2 evaluation metrics. I think we can go to the next. Can we change slide, please? Oh, okay. Sorry. the two evaluation metrics, which is business metrics and social metrics. So business metric is performance based, where we are talking about revenue, profit, and market share. And social metrics, it actually tracks engagement and impact on social media. For example, understanding audience connection. Now, we have to have trust, complaints, risk, and misleading impact of vulnerable groups. For example, the boomers. We know for a fact that boomers are indeed a vulnerable group in the digitalized age. For example, promoting sleep aid, replacing anxiety and scare tactics with sleep hygiene instead of explanation of real boundaries. These are the things that sometimes our boomers learn from the digital media and preach to their own family members. So, for the conclusion and contribution, the goal of TIMC is to shift IMC's focus from being better at selling to being better at taking responsibility. Traditional IMC is prone for efficiency maximization, like AI era now, with ethics becoming an endangered entity, which is also like an external being. And in Tawhidic epistemology, it provides underlying built in ethics, which is the integration of intention, knowledge, and behavior. I think that's all about us. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you very much to our speakers for the meaningful insights. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now proceed to the last segment, which is the Q&A. I would like anyone who wants to ask ask a question if they choose.
Again, can I ask the question, Prof? I'm Dr. Shahidul Haq from
Sure.
Actually, I was really very much happy to find research, especially on Bangladeshi business students or the students from BBA or also the faculty members. My question is to Samuel and also Farhana and then another presenter is about the sampling procedure, because it's very important. Because you mentioned, as I did not note down, but what I understood that in general, the most of the Bangladeshi students, they follow the textbook from Western writers. It's okay, but would you please explain how did you choose your sample? Because it's very important, because there are a lot of universities, like private universities, International Islamic University, Malaysia. Also, there are some other private universities I know. They have some special courses on Islamic communication, Islamic marketing, Islamic, other topics. So, would you please explain about the selection of your, sample? Then maybe I can ask you. It can be interactive, so you can.
Yes, so as I've said that it was purposive sampling. We contacted several Islamic universities in Bangladesh who claim to be Islamic, whose name is integrated with their, whose mission is Islamic. So we first contacted the faculty members who teach IMC course. Okay, so and then they had referred to their best students who would be most viable or most reliable to answer our questions. And that's the same case for Islamic University in Malaysia as well. We prefer not to take the Islamic university names, so that when if the paper is published, then they would not be more reliant on defending themselves or justifying themselves. Maybe work on it.
Okay, I understand. Because my PhD thesis was also public relations in Islamic banks of Bangladesh. So maybe I have different opinion. Maybe later we can discuss more. I'm Shahidul Haq. You can contact me.
Inshallah.
You can collect my number from Prof. Aida.
Inshallah. Okay, I'll surely do.
Okay, thank you.
Anissa, any other questions?
If there's no other questions, and I think we can end the Q&A session. So again, thank you for all the questions, and also thank you to our speakers for the amazing insights that we have managed to delve into today. And I will hereby pass the floor back to Sister Hananya.
Thank you. Thank you, Sister Anissa and our presenter for the meaningful insights. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, we hope that you have gained valuable and insightful knowledge from our distinguished speaker. So before we end our program, we would like to invite everyone to turn on their cameras for a group photo.
Okay, everyone. May everyone turn on their cameras so that we can take a group photo together. We'll wait for a few more people to turn on their camera. Alright, thank you, everyone. We're gonna we'll wait for 1 more minute. Alright. Thank you. We'll be taking our group. Alright, then we'll be taking our group photo together. When I call 1, 2, 3, everyone give their prettiest smile. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Alright, one more. 1, 2, 3. Okay, last time. Freestyle. Alright. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Thank you so much, everyone.
This marks the end of the webinar. So we would like to extend our deepest gratitude to wonderful speakers, and also we would like to thank everyone for participating in today's seminar. So please scan the QR code on your screen for the attendance. And also please feedback form. Thank you again for your participation. Billahi taufiq wal hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And good night.
Thank you so much. Good night.
Thank you, night.
Thank you, Dr. Ida, so much.
Thank
Excuse
everyone.
me. Excuse me, madam. Is there any attendance QR code? Excuse me. Ma'am, is there any attendance QR scan code?
Please give a second.
Madam, is there any QR scan code for attendance?
Can we put the QR code up again, please?
You have scan code only for feedback, or you also have scan code for attendance?
They shared both, so maybe you missed the attendance QR code. So maybe you
Please,
can.
can you share again? Because I just got the feedback. I don't know. It is giving some invalid QR code.
Okay, we just put the link in the chat box. Anissa.
Ma'am, I sent my name in the chat box. I think this is not working in my phone. Okay, thank you.
We will provide the link in the WhatsApp group.
WhatsApp group. She's in the WhatsApp group. Dr. Saima, are you in
Yes,
the
yes,
WhatsApp
yes.
group? Okay, so she'll
Okay,
provide it in the group.
Okay, Madam
Right. But
link in chat
I
box.
think there's something in the chat box as well. What is it? The attendance form. What about the feedback form, Hanania? Do we have a okay, that's a feedback. All right. I think we can also provide this. Oh, never mind. This should be here, isn't it? Okay. Thank you so much, everyone. All right.
Thank you, Dr. Aida.
Thank you. Bye-bye.